Hi all, Jeanette here. Last year, Old Guy and I decided that we wanted to plant potatoes this year in a mulched bed. So we came up with some old hay that a farmer had, scattered it all over this designated area in our garden where we would be able to plant potatoes this spring. The first thing at that point, we'd scattered the hay all over the ground in order to let the ground mellow out over the winter time. And now at this point, we need to move some of the hay back to plant the potatoes in there. So that's what you see Old Guy doing in this section of the video, is scraping some of the hay back on the sides. We had a little mishap, however, because this brush pile right here was on fire. Old Guy was trying to get rid of it, and so it got away from him and got over into our potato patch and burned off the top section of the hay. It won't really affect us that much because it burned a little. We'll have to add some extra, but that'll be okay. Over the winter, we used straw to bed down ducklings that we hatched in a brooder situation, and every time as I cleaned out the brooder, I piled it over here at the end of the potato patch so that we could make a mound and let it start composting a little bit. And as the potatoes grow, we plan to cover them with some more of the mulch that comes out of this pile right here. We went to our local Amish greenhouse where they carry seed potatoes, and we bought a 50-pound bag of what's called Cascade potatoes. They're like a Kennebec, but they're improved. And then we also bought 35 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes. We don't like to cut up our potatoes because we feel like that gives them more opportunity to rot in the field, so we kind of like to leave the potatoes whole. You can see in this bag that there's going to be quite a variation in size, but we will still keep even the large potatoes whole as we plant them. I'm putting them in a bucket so that I can carry them over to the field as I'm ready to go plant. When we picked out the Yukon Golds, I just picked them out by hand. We didn't buy a whole 50-pound bag, and I purposefully chose what they call the B size so that they would be smaller. So even though we have 35 pounds of Yukon Golds versus 50 pounds of the Cascades, we came out pretty close with the same amount of seed potatoes. We really like the Yukon Gold potatoes, but they aren't quite as productive and they don't keep as well, so we're going to do two different kinds of potatoes. I will plant the Yukon Golds first, and they didn't have as many of the smaller potato size that I wanted, so I did have to pick a few bigger ones because I wasn't willing to ask them to open up a whole nother bag just so I could pick through it and get small potatoes. You can see that there are plenty of eyes that are already starting to sprout, so I feel like I have a good chance for success. We like to plant potatoes on March the 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. That's typically whenever we plant potatoes in our area, but I think often it's too early and things just aren't ready yet. So you can see beyond me there that Old Guy is tilling the ground, and what we're going to put there is the two other cases of onions that we had left. The ground finally got dry, and we think that we can get out there and get that done. We have a drip line already that we're laying down on the ground that we extended there in that between the two rows. We're going to put two rows that are like 18 inches apart down on either side of that drip line. And we feel like that will sufficiently water both rows. And And then the second row I'll put with the Cascade potatoes. They're nice, big, nicely shaped potatoes that seem very uniform. After I get all the potatoes laid out, then I'll come back with my rake and I'll pull in the straw back over the potatoes. And then as the potato plants start peeking up through the straw, we'll keep adding more straw because the little potatoes don't actually grow down into the ground. They grow along the stem as the potato plant grows up, and you have to get them covered up with at the right time with the right amount of soil, or in our case straw, hay, in order for them to grow a potato along that stem. And there, I've got it all finished. We'll get more on it as we need to. And about the same time that I get through, we can see that old guy has gotten that ground all tilled up where I can lay plastic on that and we can get our onions planted. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.